Hello all and welcome to today's video. My name is John McFall and I want to welcome you to the McFall RI channel where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery, and I also teach you how to make semi-passive income. In today's video, I want to talk to you about a situation that just happened to me. I just picked up my Equinox yesterday from my mechanic because when I was doing food delivery a couple of weeks ago, I was driving down the road and my exhaust literally fell out from the catalytic converter back. That area broke and dropped my exhaust down, and I had to go take the car to my mechanic so that he could fix it. And today I kind of want to talk to you about what the actual costs are of us doing food delivery, and especially when it comes to our vehicles, because it's quite expensive to do what we do at times, especially when we have a breakdown and we have to pay our mechanics to fix our cars. Before we get into the topic, I do want to remind you that down here in my description, I do have some great tools for you guys. The one I want to talk to you about today is my metric spreadsheet. If you want to know how well you're doing out here average when you're doing food delivery, the only way you can is to keep track of your numbers. So I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can take a quick look at it. If you look at the left-hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total hours that I've worked. I also put in the miles, and then if you look to the right, you'll see that for each individual app, I put the dollars that I've made, the time that I worked, along with the number of deliveries. Head to the bottom and you'll see it calculates out what your average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, along with your average per delivery. If you want to see where you need to improve and what you need to do better, the metric spreadsheet will help you see that. So make sure you go down into my description and grab a free copy of it for yourself if you're not keeping track already. And with that, let's get into the topic. So I was here in Auburn the other night. I was doing food delivery. I was actually almost to the end of my shift. I took a order. It was going from McDonald's. It was going about 3 miles. And when I got to the drop-off and delivered the food, I got back into my car and noticed that it sounded a little bit differently. And I wasn't sure if there was some snow maybe got packed up in the exhaust or something, because there was still snow on the ground. So I decided to keep going. And by the time I got back to my sweet spot, I noticed that it was still making a lot of noise. So I pulled over and looked under my car, and literally where the catalytic converter is, the exhaust had literally dropped down right there in the middle. So I limped my car home and I made it there. My mechanic is only a block away from my house, so I took it over there and dropped it off for him. Well, I just picked it up yesterday. I drive a 2012 Equinox, is the main vehicle that I use to do food delivery now. Back in August, I bought it because I was driving this Chevy Trailblazer to do food delivery, and I wanted something that had better gas mileage. And I got the vehicle to my mechanic, just got it back last night, and I ended up paying about $650 to have him replace the exhaust from the catalytic converter back, including a brand new muffler and a brand new secondary muffler. So it was quite an expensive bill. Kind of wanted to talk to you about the expenses that we have when we go out here, because the first thing I want to say is when you are doing food delivery and you are using your vehicle to make money, you are putting wear and tear on your vehicle, and it costs money to make sure that your vehicle is properly maintained. So make sure when you think about the money that you're making out here doing food delivery, that you always set aside a little bit of money for those maintenance costs that you have. And the second thing I want to say is, if I didn't have money saved to be able to take care of problems like this when they come up, I would really struggle to fix my car when something breaks. We all know that every once in a while on our vehicles that we drive, that things are going to break on our vehicles. So what I want to recommend to you today is this, is if you are doing food delivery and you have no money stashed anywhere, I'm going to highly suggest that you start stashing some money. And I would put away anywhere from $500 to $1,000 that just kind of sits there. So if you get into a situation where you have a vehicle breakdown, that you have the money to repair it. Because if your car is broke down, especially if you have one car, I actually have two, so when one goes down, I have another I can jump into. But if you only have one vehicle and it breaks down, this is not only going to cost you money because you have to repair it, but it's also going to hinder the opportunity that you have to make more money, because you're not going to be able to get out there and get your hustle on to get the money that you need if you have a broken car and it's the only one that you have. So always make sure that you have some money stashed away for these emergency situations, because over time when you're doing food delivery, it will happen that you're going to have to spend money on that vehicle. Last year on my Trailblazer, I actually invested about $5,000 into it because it had hit 150,000 miles and there was a lot of maintenance and stuff that needed done on it. I got everything done on it that it needed to be, but I would not have been able to do that had I not had the money set aside to be able to do that. And I was able to keep myself going down the road to make the money that I needed to fix it, because I had my vehicle in good working order. I always get the maintenance done on my vehicles, and this has been something I've been doing for a long time, but it became even more prevalent when I was starting to do food delivery, because I knew I had to rely on that vehicle to make me money. So make sure that you always have a rainy day fund, an emergency fund, whatever you want to call it, but set aside some money so if you run into a situation where your vehicle breaks down, that you can not only afford to pay it, but you can also afford to continue to pay your bills if you run into a situation where you can't get out and make money. One thing that I've done since I started food delivery, and part of what has helped me grow my emergency fund and my stash money, is every time I get a cash tip from a customer, I do not put that into my pocket and spend it. I actually put it into an envelope and let that money sit there and let that money grow, so that I always have some emergency funds available to take care of situations like I had with my Equinox yesterday. It costs a lot of money to keep your vehicles going, and the best way that you can combat this is to make sure that you're prepared by having money set aside. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you got something out of it. It is always very important, no matter how much you're making when you're out there, no matter how much you are able to get, that you always put money away, so that when you run into emergency situations, that you're able to take care of those situations without burdening yourself too much. Want to remind you, head down into my description, go grab that metric spreadsheet. I also have some other great tools in my description, which are the Beans app and SimplyWise and QuickBooks Self-Employed. These are some great tools that I use when I'm out here doing food delivery. I'd also like to ask you to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And with that, I want to say I hope that you are out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.